Adaine, you are suspended in this orb, prevented from spell casting.
Mhm.
You can speak,
Uh-huh.
but are unable to cast spells within this orb.
Okay. But I can cast message, right?
You can cast.
I've been able to cast message.
You've been able to cast message. That's correct.
Okay.
You see Aelwyn staring at you. Killian and Aelwyn have both walked away.
Mm-hmm.
You see Aelwyn sort of stalks off into the clearing a little bit, and Aelwyn is left standing nearby, keeping an eye on you. What is Adaine doing in this moment?
Can I message Aelwyn?
Yes, you can.
So I'd like to message Aelwyn and say, what are you doing? You don't like these people any more than I do.
She messages you back. Adaine, I don't like our parents, but I do love them. Don't you?
They don't love me.
Adaine, you have always been, above all else, steadfast in your ways. Some might even go so far as to say stubborn. Love is something that has to be earned. It's not something...
No, it's not.
What value does a thing have if it can be freely given?
The greatest value of all. A gift given without ask or want.
I don't understand.
I think you do. I think you do understand. Because you're the most defensive person I've ever met. Your defenses are so high. You chose, of all of the schools of magic, to be an abjurative wizard. You won't let people in because you're scared that if you let people in and they reject you, then you're not worth it in some way.
I'm not scared. Taking cautions. I have tried to make the right choice as often as I could, and you can't make it in this world alone. You need to have...
Aelwyn, I don't love our parents, but despite the fact that you have not earned it, I do love you. Do you hear that? I hope you hear that.
There is no response from Aelwyn. She... give me an insight check.
15.
If you had to guess the power of that statement and how much Aelwyn needs to hear it, is something that she saw coming like a magic missile headed straight for her. And you watch her eyes go glassy, and you watch her fully dissociate, just to not process that. She is too scared in this moment. You see Aelwyn whips around and says, "Great deal of silence over here in this corner of the clearing." He walks over, and you see that he approaches, and you can kind of observe him getting some kind of sending spell or a whispering wind spell, probably from your mom. And you see he looks over at... also give me a perception check if you'd be so kind.
11.
you see with an 11 perception check, you just see that your father has a sword on his belt that he almost never carries or would wear. But you see he walks over to you, and as he does so, you see that he's gotten like a look in his eye. He glances at Aelwyn and says, "Daughter, the time has come. I need a moment to prepare the punishment that awaits your sister. I would like for you, if you'd be so kind, seeing that she has been as recalcitrant as ever to assist her family, kindly scour the information as to what her accomplices are doing from her mind. I'll be waiting for you to complete this task." And you see his hand crackles with light again. And he says, "Adaine, after your sister wrests what you are holding away from you, I'm going to fix you. I hope that you will be grateful, although if I am successful, I won't have to hope for you to be any way that I wish." You see Aelwyn looks over at Angwin and goes, "Father, as much as I would love to see Adaine suffer, once we have the information from her, let's leave her in the orb. That's what she's most scared of." You see your father says, "Aelwyn, you've been given an order. Carry it out." Aelwyn says, "Right, but you see Angwin furrows his brow and says, "Aelwyn, now is not the time to lose your nerve. Do it." Aelwyn stands there for a second. You can see that her hands are shaking at her side. I
message her, I'm here with you. I'm with you. Whatever you decide to do, I'm with you.
She snaps her eyes over to you and says, "Father, Adaine's just, she's a baby. And you see Angwin goes, "A baby?" And you see she says, "No, I mean, she's young. There's no," you see your dad, just raises a hand and Aelwyn flinches. She turns, looks at you, and says, "I'm so sorry." And she casts Detect Thoughts on you. What does Adaine do as Aelwyn begins to cast Detect Thoughts?
I would like to think about all of the times that Aelwyn was almost nice to me, and then at the prompting of our parents did something cruel instead. Like, I want those to be my surface thoughts. I close my eyes and that is what I'm thinking about.
You think of all the times that Aelwyn chose to be cruel to save herself. The last time you cast Detect Thoughts on Aelwyn, you walked through a bombed out city. What is Aelwyn walking through right now as she sees a vision of your mind?
I think it's our childhood house in Solace, which is most of my childhood memories. I feel like we moved there when I was very small. And it's just a series of interconnected rooms that's like my room and her room and my room and her room and my room and her room, with each of these memories inside it.
She begins to walk through with you. I'm going to make my first roll. she walks through and doesn't push deeper, even though that's what she's supposed to do. Mm-hmm. She walks in, looks at all these moments, looks up at you and says, well, if you're trying to humiliate me, I suppose it's working.
I'm not. We can make new memories, but these are all the memories that I have of you. These are the best memories that I have of you. We will live immortal lives. Do we want to keep playing these patterns out? I don't want to.
Aelwyn looks out of a window of her room, and she wants to go deep. She sees something and wants to go deeper in your mind. Does Adaine allow her to do this?
Yes.
She moves through the window and is at your memory of her in the hot tub after you had rescued her from Calethriel Tower. She looks up at you confused because she doesn't remember this.
They broke you, Aelwyn. They broke you. For what? For why? They're cruel people. And I'm sorry, but I don't think that they will ever love you. And they'll never even let you make your own decisions. You're just a tool to them. And they'll only keep you around as long as you're useful.
You see, now it's becoming even more painful because in your memory, you cast Detect Thoughts. And there is a memory of you and a memory of Aelwyn going into Detect Thoughts. And there's the two of you that are here in the present moment that can follow your old selves into that casting of Detect Thoughts.
Look at these ruins. Look, there was no rebuilding this.
Aelwyn, healed, at least mentally, from her protective magic, watches you observe in the destroyed version of her mind all the things that were buried, and is forced to confront not only her inner self, but forced to confront the fact that she has always lied to herself about who she is and how she felt, has to confront the fact that you know that, and has to now confront that it's all been mistakes, needless cruelty, and wasted time. She digests all of this, sees all of the things, her in the bed with you, making the ward around you, all the things she said to you when you were in the orb, and has to ingest all of that as someone who brought her old mind back. She looks up.
Will you be my big sister? I would really, really love to have you as a big sister.
She looks and loses concentration on detect. Tears stream down her face. She loses it, steps back. As she does so, you are back in the forest of the Nightmare King. You see that Aelwyn is just weeping, standing there, looking like having to reshuffle her entire mind to accommodate all this. You see Aelwyn turns to her and says, "Well then, daughter, were you successful? What are her friends planning?" Aelwyn just looks up and can only think to just say the truth, which is, I didn't find it. I didn't find her friends. I didn't. Aelwyn kind of like rolls his eyes. He looks up, and as he does so, you see as he does this, he looks up and, "Very well, Adaine. Time has come for a new and better daughter." His hand crackles with light. He reaches out and says, "Prepare to be better, dear sweet daughter." Woo! Light races towards your mind. As it is an inch away from the orb covers with an abjurative rune. Aelwyn stands with her hand extended, her face completely blank and emotionless.